The 24-hour countdown is now on. Of course, if you look at the top right of my screen, you guys can see a little thing called Hot Topic, and this is what's being talked about quite a bit around the community when you go to a specific altcoin or just crypto on CoinMarketCap. And we have here XRP ETF debuts on NASDAQ tomorrow. How big could the market reaction be? So yeah, essentially tomorrow is going to be the big update around this ETF. I'm not expecting the price to go crazy. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, I'm not expecting XRP to hit $3 or $4 or $5 like everyone has been, screaming. The main thing that I'm looking at here is just a positive market reaction. I just want to see something happen on this chart where we do start to create some bullish structure yet again. I'm not looking for a crazy move or anything like that, but I do think that this ETF is going to be a big one because it is going to be the first official 100% spot-based ETF. And I saw a lot of people kind of confused about that because they were like, well, what about the Rex Ospreys ETF? That is not a 100% spot-weighted ETF, which we'll also address. But beyond that, the chart still looks good. I'm just expecting this thing to potentially tap this trend line once again, get a nice close on it officially, and then start the uptrend. But I also want to see on the weekly a close above $2.65. That's the key target here. So until that happens, I really don't care about the price chart all that much. And I'm not going to get too excited until we break these levels, because I know recently a lot of people were like, oh, hey, look at XRP's pumping. And I go look at the chart and yeah, it looks great on the 4-hour when you're looking at the chart because you have this big move to the upside. And technically it's not really that big of a move. It's from $2.24 to about roughly $2.57, unless you are in a lower time frame trade or maybe you're using some leverage, sure. But the main thing that we're looking at here is zooming out and really coming to the conclusion that that's not a huge move on this chart. So we have a lot more work to do when it comes back to XRP on this chart, and hopefully the ETF can definitely push us above some of these key levels to close out the week above, which would be very bullish. But beyond that, let's talk about a few things actually. So right off the rip, I want to talk about what's been happening around the Clarity Act. Okay, so here we have from David Sachs, the Senate AG Committee has released a bipartisan draft of market structure legislation. Thanks to Chairman John Boozman and Senator Booker's leadership, we are a major step closer to providing the regulatory clarity needed to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Now, there was a video tied back to this, which we'll address here in a second, but I also want to quote real quick Matt Hoogan from Bitwise. This is Bitwise's CIO, and we have here that the market is underestimating the probability of success on market structure legislation, in my opinion. Because again, I do think that we could have this fully passed potentially, by, I would say like roughly the end of Q1 of 2026. Obviously, listen, I would love to have this fully passed by the end of the year, but this is probably going to drag on a little bit more. I know that a lot of people are saying like January. It's definitely a possibility, but I would say like Q1 is when we should expect this to be fully passed through. But we also have over here from, of course, the Financial Services GOP. We have here from French Hill on Mornings with Maria. We made progress during September and October on market structure for digital assets. The Clarity Act, which we passed with 78 Democrats in the House back in July, is now subject to intensive work in the Senate. They are making strong progress, and I hope that we can conclude that in the coming days. It's been hurt by the shutdown, so I'm looking forward to working with them in getting across the floor and to President Trump's desk. Check it out.
Just unbelievable. Well, look, when the government finally reopens this week, we're expecting Congress can take on the Clarity Act, the long-awaited crypto market regulation bill, bipartisan talks reportedly resuming in the Senate. Mr. Chairman, what can you tell us? Because no doubt a reopening is good for financial services and for crypto as well, right?
You bet, because we have pending before the Congress a National Defense Authorization Bill trying to prepare the ag damage to our economy from no farm bill during the Biden administration, no Biden enforcement of the Chinese soybeans deal. We need an ag bill, and that's another reason to open the Congress. You're right. We've made progress during September and October on market structure for digital assets. The Clarity Act, which we passed with 78 Democrats in the House back in July, is now subject of intensive work in the Senate by both Senate Democrats and Republicans on the Banking Committee and on the Senate Agriculture Committee. They're making strong progress, and I hope we can conclude that in coming days. It's been hurt by the shutdown, so I'm looking forward to working with them and getting it across the floor and to President Trump's desk.
Okay.
Yeah, we're anticipating this greatly because it's going to have a very large positive reaction across the board for crypto, specifically utility-based projects that have been, sort of, I would say, clearing a path to mass adoption. And I also think that this is just going to be very good for the entire space in general. But outside of that, let's get back to ETFs, because on top of the Clarity Act, right? Because I do think that with Clarity, with everything happening from the SEC, even around these ETFs, I do think that this is leading to major institutional grade adoption. Now, the ETFs are definitely a big key player in a lot of this. And let's go back to the whole idea of the Rex Osprey ETF. So we have over here from Eleanor Tourette, because Rex Shares did quote the update with Canary Funds, and they said not the first. We have here that the Rex Shares XRP-R ETF came first under the Investment Company 40 Act with partial spot XRP exposure and less efficient tax treatment. But Canary Funds is set to launch the first pure play 33 Act XRP ETF with 100% XRP, nothing else. And this is to be expected on, well, this is technically tomorrow. So this is going to be a big deal. I'm watching and waiting for an update and confirmation on this, but the ETF is a very large deal for XRP because we want to see how this performs. A lot of people have been addressing it and talking about it, but it's crazy to see this happening now. Like, think about how crazy it is, the fact that we have an XRP ETF that is set to go live this week. It's such a difference in scenery in the space. Like, I think one of the best posts that I just recently read was from Nate Garalshi, which said just over 1 year ago, the SEC was appealing court decision that XRP did not meet legal definition of a security. On Thursday, looks like the first 33 Act spot XRP ETF will launch. Hard to describe crypto regulatory shift over the past year, night and day. And yeah, it is night and day. It's crazy to see what has happened in just the last 12 months. It's incredible. And I really do think that it's, again, a clear sign that we are going to continue to see major advancements in this space that's completely removing all obstacles for these assets to actually become, the big success that they are meant to be. And XRP is definitely right there at the forefront. Now, talking about the ETF, I did see another post, and this is actually from Riz XRP. This is from Paul Barron's YouTube channel. This is with Stephen McClurg. I want to bring this up because, again, this is the CEO of Canary Capital regarding the XRP ETF. Listen closely to what he is saying here, because it's very important to note what he is, saying. And then also I have a few numbers that I want to go over regarding what he's saying here as well. So check it out.
When you look at the flow that we've seen with Solana, the BSOL, Bitwise did a great job getting that one out on the ground. And absolutely crazy numbers. One of the best performing ETFs that we've seen so far, especially in digital assets. How do you think these XRP ETFs will perform against that?
Yeah, I actually think that XRP will probably double what Solana did in its first week and even today, as far as volume and as far as total AUM. If you just even look at the market caps of the two tokens, XRP is about 50% higher than Solana. Yeah. But the difference is, and we experienced this with HBAR last week or 2 weeks ago now, the HBAR ETF experienced $70 million in inflows just in the first 3 days. And it's because it's really well known among institutional circles.
Exactly.
Enterprise investors.
Yeah.
So even though it's not a big retail product, it doesn't have a ton of volume. It's got the right kind of interest. And that's how XRP is. Solana is probably a little bit more of a retail token. XRP is much more of a financial services, enterprise, institutional token. And when you put that into an ETF, even though it's only 50% more market cap, it'll probably be 100% or 200% more inflows because of the institutional audience.
No, he's saying that XRP can double what Solana did. Just for reference, okay? This is what we got regarding BSOL, which is, of course, Solana's first ETF. $30 million of inflows into BSOL. Yesterday, Solana purchased. Inflows every day for the last 8 days since its launch, over $500 million in total. It's clear investors want Solana exposure. With BSOL, we have aimed to construct a high-quality way for investors to get access 100% stake, very low fees. Again, looking at how this ETF has performed, it's crazy to see that we are potentially talking about doubling the total amount of inflows. Now, we also did hear from Bitwise themselves, specifically Matt Hoogan again on Paul Barron's YouTube channel regarding XRP ETFs and how big of a success they will be. This is from Safe Crypto. The mistake people make with an XRP ETF is taking the median view of XRP in the crypto community. That doesn't matter. What matters is the strong, committed XRP community ready to allocate. Check it out.
Of course, is the XRP ETFs. We had Steven on the other day, and he throws out some crazy numbers. And he's saying that there's a possibility he thinks that we could see double of what Solana has done so far. Do you agree with that in terms of the XRP ETF?
Yeah, I love Steve. I look forward to competing with him on XRP, but he's a good friend. Yes, I think there will be significant interest. The thing that people get wrong about crypto is an asset like XRP definitely has divisive views in the community. There are many crypto people who love it, and there are many people who are skeptical of it. The thing about ETF flows is the people who are skeptical don't matter. All that matters is that there are people who are excited to buy it. That's why you see high inflows. So I think the mistake people make when they estimate something like an XRP ETF is they take the median view of XRP in the crypto community. It doesn't matter. It's that there's this strong, committed community of people who are excited for this product, and they will allocate. So I think XRP will be a big success. I don't know if it will double Solana, but it will.
So yeah, I mean, he doesn't know if it's going to double Solana, but he does believe that it is going to be a big success. Because again, if we're thinking about XRP already, this cycle, which I've talked about on multiple occasions, it's already been extremely successful. I mean, from the overall performance to the attention that XRP has gotten as well, I just feel as if we are about to witness these ETFs go absolutely crazy. And that's going to severely impact XRP itself. You got to remember, right, that this is going to lock up supply. It's going to completely diminish the supply out there that retail has, exposure to. And there's going to be a big update in this space where we start to see, a huge push from multiple angles. I talked about this even with Hedera as well, right? You have the ETF side, which is taking spot-based supply off the exchanges. On top of that, you have institutional grade adoption picking up. You have enterprise grade adoption picking up. You have institutional DeFi pools becoming a reality. I mean, we have so much utility that's going to impact this space over the next couple months and years. Combined with the ETF side, I don't see how we don't see, I really don't understand how people can't realize that the supply in the space, when we think about 100 billion tokens, everyone's like, 100 billion, that's insane. It's not enough. It's simply not enough at all. When we think about all of these use cases, when we think about ETFs, all that kind of stuff, that supply is very small. I know that it doesn't seem like it's very small, especially when we compare it back to like Bitcoin, for example, that has 21 million. But if we're thinking about ETFs, we're thinking about institutional grade adoption, the use cases, it's not enough, which tells me that we will eventually see the supply and demand side of the market become a big thing that affects the value long term. We're talking about supply shocks. We're talking about the price having to be much higher to support the demand. That becomes a reality because of everything that's happening right now. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.